Amy Elizabeth, somatic and intuitive healer. And Mercury has stationed retrograde in Libra. Yesterday, on the 10th of September, was the Pisces Full Moon. And when you have a full moon, the moon is, in this case, Pisces, and the sun is in Virgo. Those signs are opposite of each other. Mercury will be retrograding back into Virgo, where the sun is, and Venus is in Virgo. I had this dream that the energy of Virgo, in fact, Virgo as a whole didn't exist. And because Virgo as a container didn't exist, the archetypal energy of Virgo disappeared from the world. And now the archetypal energy of Virgo is the ability to pay attention to detail. It is the ability to organize. It's also perfectionism in its shadow and nitpicking. But we want to work with energies from their light and their highest point and pull on those. Now, what does this have to do with astrology and the full moon and what's going on? So the full moon was in Pisces. So the full moon is in Pisces, which is the inability to have boundaries and the embodiment of the big picture, as it were. And so we've got this Piscean energy, which is just the whole of everything. It's all the big stuff. And that's where the moon is sitting. That's where our emotions are sitting. That's where our intuition is sitting. That is where, to some extent, in things like a presidential inauguration where a president is born, if the moon is void, of course, it is where the connection to the people sits. So when we look at something like President Biden's inauguration, which was void of course, the moon was void of course, you can't connect with the people, because when his presidency was born, the moon was void of course, so it lacked the connection. So the moon is really important. And the moon's sitting in Pisces right now. So our emotions can feel really expanded, can feel there's no head space here, okay? Pisces doesn't have any head space. It is heart space. It is imaginal space. It is deep womb space, or hara space, to connect to people in male bodies. Think of it as your hara. It is a space of the black hole, the great mother, the opening and the space of all creation. And the sun, Venus, are both in Virgo, which is the sign of organization and attention to details. So you've got the Pisces, which is in shamanic terms the condor that's flying over everything. And then you've got the sun, which is our willpower and our ego. You've got Venus, which is our relationships and our self-worth, our how we deal with money, how we deal with power. Down in the opposite of the moon in Virgo, paying attention to the details. What is the moment-to-moment, day-to-day stuff we need to be doing to make sure we run? And the magic of shamanism is paying attention to both, being able to see the big picture, to be the condor who soars over and sees all of the puzzle pieces. And it's hard, because to do that you have to set aside your own agenda. You have to get curious, and you have to be in wonder. And when I say in wonder, I don't just mean in awe. I mean, well, I wonder about you because I see you as a human, and I know you have a story. So that's really present right now. Mercury is going to be moving back in to Virgo on the 23rd, the same day the sun moves out of Virgo. They're actually going to conjunct at 0 degrees of Libra, before Mercury moves back into Virgo. So there is this inspiration and pull to just talk about the importance of each sign of the zodiac. Each sign of the zodiac represents a different area and a different focus of our lives. Just like, hello, little friend. There's a baby squirrel hanging out with me this morning. Oh my gosh, so cute. We've been watching them grow up. Anyway, that pay attention to detail, right? If I was just focused here on this big delivering the message, I wouldn't have got to see the cute little baby squirrel who came to see me this morning. Each of the signs of the zodiac, like the 12 houses, so there's 12 signs and there's 12 houses, carry really specific threads of energy. And too often we get caught up in the idea that, well, I'm a Leo because my sun is in Leo, so therefore I'm a Leo. And we forget that we really are all 12 of the zodiac signs, and we operate in all 12 of the houses. The houses, you will know the houses if you know your birth chart. If you don't know your birth chart, set up a reading. We will get this taken care of. We will discover your houses. We will help you find your way to learning to navigate this on a deeper level. The houses all deal with specific areas of our lives. So I am a second house Virgo personally. So I really value paying attention to the details. And when I lose track of the details, as I did this past week with Mercury hitting my chart the way it was, I really get down on myself because I value the details. I value my ability to pay attention to the details and to get into that condor space, both and. So just imagining and dreaming of a world where we did not pay attention to detail, where we chose not to be organized because the whole energy was just gone, really brought into focus the need to start talking about the importance of recognizing all 12 of these energies and the value that all 12 of them bring, and the value it brings to know your birth chart, to understand where those energies sit in your life, what your placements are, so what planetary placements, what asteroid placements, if your nodes are there, so there's points in the sky that get placed in those areas also, and to know what houses they sit in, which if you're ready to do that and it's time, then you need to contact me and either sign up for my women's circle where we look at a different part of your chart every month, or get a reading. But really honoring all of the pieces. Too often, especially with young people, or people who haven't learned enough, I'm hearing a lot of poo-pooing of, well, this sign is bad for this reason and this sign is bad for that reason. Or I'm not that sign because that's just not what I want to be. And that does not serve. We are all 12 of the signs, and our ability to organize and pay attention to the details is just as important as our ability to get really high and be without boundaries. To understand other people's point of view, to understand where they're coming from, to recognize when we have little baby squirrels come and visit us. So Venus is in Virgo. Juno was a big player this week as she sextiled the North Node, checking in with us on our creative contract, our sacred contract, and how we can get creative in making sure we are moving toward that destiny point and moving toward something bigger than just allowing life to happen to us. Because we can co-create with life. which is what we're doing when we're working our astrology, when we're working our gene keys, when we're working our human design, when we're working, doing the deep inner work of seeing our shadow and acknowledging our shadow and working to clean up our shadow, or we can just float along and be in flow, and not evolve. And that's South Node stuff. And that's great, except you came to Earth School. You're here in Earth School in these fabulous meat suits that are so important that we really be embodied and stay in our meat suits. So, which is Virgo, being in our day-to-day, moment-to-moment, daily routines, doing the things. So, I feel like that's it for today. I know I have been absent. I will do better to be present next week. Great big fierce love.